Hello, everybody, and welcome to Crown Corner for this week, the 6th episode here with you on WFNZ's social channels, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube. Will Pelagic, Jessica Charman, and we come to you on a win streak after a 2-0 win over FC Cincinnati that followed the 3-1 victory over the New England Revolution. It's very, very great, Jess, to see everything starting to come together, and I really feel like the club has hit its stride through 5 games this season.
I could get used to this feeling. It's so much easier to prep for matches. It's so much easier to talk about matches. You know, we've talked so much about bad luck and being disappointed and feeling like it's unfair. And how refreshing is it now that we're talking about perhaps having a little bit of luck swing in our direction, about the way that our team has come together. The hard work has paid off. And honestly, Will, I feel like it's clicked a lot quicker than I maybe anticipated that it would. I was always talking about patience and, you know, these things take time. Well, I thought it was going to take a little bit more time, honestly, but you're right. I feel like they found their stride and they're playing and understanding the system.
And I do feel like also one of the things that we were worried about was that, you know, it wasn't going to be beautiful football. It was going to be, you know, plodding, especially the way that it started in Charleston. And I do feel like a lot of people kind of came with that idea that, you know, this was going to be, you know, a side that struggled to find its footing. And, you know, people were questioning the game model, questioning the playing out of the back. There was some scary, skittish moments in Charleston and even in the first game against DC. But now you're seeing why the system is in place. You've got great goalkeeping to back it up. We're going to talk to Christian Kalina later on this hour. I do feel like there are a lot of things that are starting to kind of hit that stride, like you said, and coming together a lot sooner than we thought it was going to.
Definitely will. I think it's a combination of a lot of factors. There were some worries about the model. There still is a little bit of nervousness around the model because the nature of playing out the back is sometimes you're going to put yourself in some sticky situations. But we always talk about the risk versus the reward, and the reward is so great. When we look at these goals, when we look at the speed of play, we look at the speed of transition from defending to attacking, we look at how they're able to create spaces and find players within the 18-yard box completely unmarked. Look at the goal from Swiderski, the first goal. He's able to create so much space because of the movement of the ball, because of the possession, because of the runs off of the ball, that you make it look easy. So yes, there are going to be moments like the Christian Fuchs moment where he was caught in possession just because you put yourself under a lot of pressure. But the reward of playing against that risk, particularly when you have a goalkeeper that's going to be fast off his line and you can trust in these difficult situations, the reward is well worth those nervous moments.
You mentioned the couple of different moments that we saw throughout that contest, the goal from Swiderski, the first one, and then the second one. It sounded a heck of a lot more awesome than I think people even thought it was when they were out there live. Let's hear a little bit of the highlights from Saturday's 2-0 victory over FC Cincinnati.
A look to the watch. We are underway. Charlotte and FC Cincinnati. First attacking possession here for Charlotte. Rios approaching the 18. Into the box for Bender. Bender crossing the right side. Swiderski! He scores! Karol Swiderski! On a feed from Ben Bender! And for the second week in a row, the DP with the first goal of the game!
The literal perfect example of a counter-attack.
Fuchs tried to get around Baji. Fuchs went down, a steal. Acosta for Vasquez, a save, Kalina! Oh, what a save by Kalina at the shin! They are going to play it forward for Acosta. Acosta, the shot, save Kalina! And that was a strike from Acosta, but a better save from the Croatian Kalina.
He just gets better and better.
Aji trying to turn around, now Powell. Powell with a shot, save made Kalina! Kalina came way off his line near the penalty spot to try and knock down that pass from Powell, and does so to save a potential goal attempt. Ruiz has it on a pass from Mora. Cross to the middle, headed by Rios. A shot by Swiderski! Oh, he missed it! Oh, a real one-time shot by Swiderski. Had a little bit too much mustard on it. You're talking to the sauce boss here. Will it be Fuchs or Swiderski? It's Swiderski, a shot! Score! Karol Swiderski! The set-piece magician! Taken away by Cincinnati for Brenner near the area. Brenner with a shot, save Kalina! And it goes out of play for a corner kick.
World class. Absolutely world class.
Heavy is the head that wears the crown, and the crown belongs to Charlotte, the real Queen City.
That is a little bit of what you heard on WFNZ and the Charlotte FC radio network. Fun stuff. It sounded like the Christian Kalina highlight reel, or at least the Kalina and Swiderski highlight reel. Just great stuff. And I want to focus on Swiderski first and then Kalina, because I think Swiderski, because of the fact that I do feel like there's a little bit more when it comes to just his ability. He's somebody who I feel like we still are getting a lot more familiar with. I still feel like his ball skills are much better than I think even I had measured them as coming in here to Charlotte FC.
Definitely a lot of target, big-sized center forwards often don't have the agility and the footwork to match. But Karol Swiderski is truly a full package. He offers great foot skills. He offers a physical presence. How many fouls does he draw week in, week out? He's constantly getting his body between the ball and the defender. He's able to hold the ball up. He's able to bring others in. What I was impressed by that maybe I didn't see him having so much in his, locker was his through balls as well. His vision to create a pass. We know he has a strike on him, but some of those passes, one from Rios, a through ball on the volley, I remember standing out particularly, was amazing. And he just continues to impress us week in, week out with the variety of skills that he has. That makes him very, very difficult for a goalkeeper or a defender to handle, because he's always dangerous, whether he's in the 18-yard, outside of the 18-yard box, from a set piece, in the link-up play. You just don't know how to handle him, and that's why he's drawing so many fouls, because a lot of these defenders panic when he's in possession and just think, you know what, it's easier to cut him down.
And one of the things I'm glad you brought up, not just on the broadcast, but in a couple of other published works, is that there are a lot of unsung heroes to his success. And I think one is Daniel Rios, because ever since they moved to the two-striker format, we'll see what they use this week against Philadelphia, just because it's a little bit of a different animal defensively that you have to combat here with that. They might have to change things up tactically in order to at least play a more defensive game against Philadelphia. But I do feel like when they've gone to the two strikers set up with Rios on one side and Swiderski on the other, it's freed up some room for him, and Rios has done so thanklessly. The fact that he draws defenders alongside to him, maybe it's a situation where people start to shade more towards Swiderski. That leaves Rios for a couple of openings. He had a couple of those openings against Cincinnati, couldn't knock them through, but he's doing a lot of yeoman work, and I think he needs more recognition for it.
It's a lot of the off-the-ball work. We heard from Ben Bender last week talking about how much in this system he has required himself as well to do the off-the-ball running, to make the spaces for others. For Rios, he puts in a lot of legwork and movement away from the ball to allow the space for Karol Swiderski. He also had the secondary assist, as far as I'm concerned, in the goal, the first goal, because he had the vision to create the passes. Would like to see him look a little bit more comfortable in front of goal. He's had a couple of opportunities where I think a player in his position needs to finish those. But again, you're right. Well, he doesn't get enough praise because he isn't the name on the score sheet. But without the movement from Rios, without the decoy that he creates, drawing defenders across because they're concerned about him, Karol Swiderski cannot have as much of an impact.
Of course, when you think about this game, it's two principal players who showed out the most. both Karol Swiderski and Christian Kalina. Kalina, we said he was due for a clean sheet, and it took a full team effort, according to head coach Miguel Angel Ramirez, to get him his first one of the young season.
And we were lucky because, of course, we have Kalina. That is not about luck. It's about talent and work. But, I mean, they had chances to score. In some of the games, they were able to score, and today they couldn't, to be fair. But, of course, we keep working how to be more efficient defending and how to concede less goals. So this is something that we spend now, because in the preseason we spend too many hours working in the trainings about the attacking organization, positional game, for them to have the tools. And now that they have the tools, we spend more time during the week in the defending organization. So we are working on it.
And I feel like he's so right. It is a team effort. A lot of the time as goalkeepers, they're quick to get criticism, and it's because it's a team effort, right? I get frustrated when goalkeepers are quick to be criticized. It's the same with praise, though. We can single out Kalina for matters of magic. He makes fantastic saves, but a clean sheet is a complete team effort from the forward line back. You look at Karol Swiderski, how many times did he have a play defensively? When your forwards are involved with the defense and you're all getting behind this system of defending, of getting back together, getting forward together, it's a magical system. And again, Kalina at the end of the day stands on his head with some individual moments as well, and that's hard work and preparation.
And we mentioned a lot of those different things with regards to just the way that they played throughout the contest. I do feel like there's a lot to love from not just Kalina's perspective, but look no further than the first goal. I mean, that was a total team goal. Kalina was involved. I think 10 of the 11 players on the pitch touched the ball. The only one who didn't was Corujo. And when you have a goalkeeper involved like that, helping with the link up and helping with the counterattack, you had everything in that run by Rios, the pass from Bender, and then the finish from Swiderski. I feel like that is something that is the personification and the epitome of everything working on all cylinders.
It's the system. It's the system in work, the movement of the ball, getting the touches, creating the space. And what Charlotte FC has improved on from the first matches is the speed that they're able to do that. We saw what they wanted to do early on against DC United, against LA Galaxy. They wanted to make those passes, but they weren't as confident in the system, so they weren't able to move the ball fast enough to really make those penetrating passes into space. Now they've been able to speed up the play with a few weeks of practice. You're creating deadly movements and moving the ball to create that space. And again, Swiderski has a great finish, right? But he's barely marked. He has what for him can be considered almost an open goal. And when you leave a player of his caliber in front of a goal that's begging for a ball in the back of it, he's not going to let you down.
Now, the seminal moment of the contest came when the penalty, or not the penalty, but the free kick was earned just outside the box to the right of goal, right near the arc in front of the 18-yard box. And something that we tried to bring to you on the broadcast was that Karol Swiderski went right up to that spot right away, and it was flanked by Christian Fuchs and Jordi Alcivar. And I just loved how, Fuchs and Alcivar were kind of standing over him. And even Fuchs spoke to this after the match. And I felt like, a lot of times that's a ball that we've seen, Titi Ortiz, if he's on the pitch, take. We've seen Ben Bender take. Karol Swiderski wanted that set piece, and he was not going to give it up. And one of the things that Fuchs said to him after the game was, "Oh, well, do you go for left? Do you go for right?" And then Fuchs just said to Karol, he said, "No, just go score." And he had the most absolutely perfect strike on the ball, and it created one of the best moments we've seen in that stadium to date.
Look, I felt like the minute he moved the ball, when a player moves the ball to get on the correct blade of grass, it's like he knows what he's going to do. The reactions were fantastic. The crowd loved it. And again, I think it was a bit of a moment for Karol Swiderski to prove those doubters wrong. we've had a lot of criticism of signing him as a designated player. Yes, he hadn't played in this league. He hasn't got the experience with MLS. But do you really need that to thrive if you're a quality player? No, you don't. And he's showing now that he has every tool in his toolbox that he needs to be successful. And now the key for us is to see consistency, right? We love what we've seen from him for the past 2 games, but the real mark of quality is consistency. Can he do this week in, week out? And so far, I truly believe he can.
The best was this from Jordi Alcivar when he said he knew the movie before it ended. Now, the best reaction though has to be this one right here from the two of us.
Look,
this
man,
is the Willie shimmy. Is what you're trying to tell me.
The Willie shimmy out the window, and I'm just speechless. I wanted it so badly to go in, but it was from a good distance, and I was surprised. I couldn't believe it. Remarkable. And I think you see our true emotion when you hear the call.
It was a lot of fun from both, not only Carroll, but also Christian Kalina. We had a lot of fun watching that match. We'll do a lot looking ahead to Philadelphia later on in the hour. We want to hear your questions as well at Willie P Style, at Jess Talks Footy, and also at WFNZ on Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube. Get those in, and Matt's burning questions will be answered at the end of the podcast. We're going to preview Philadelphia a little bit later on. We're going to talk to the folks from Min Street Mafia. Our pal JJ Preseno is going to come on. But first, we have to talk to the man who got his first clean sheet, the brick wall that is Christian Kalina, as we go inside the training ground. It's time to check in on the training ground, and there was no better person, we thought, for this week, coming off his first clean sheet to join us than Charlotte FC goalkeeper Christian Kalina. I know that this is one that, Jess, you've been looking forward to for a very long time, just because we wanted the first opportunity to bring him on.
Absolutely. Really excited to have a fellow goalkeeper join us today. Christian, no better feeling for a goalkeeper than a clean sheet, and you've deserved this one. It's been a long time coming. Talk about your feelings after keeping that clean sheet, that shutout on Saturday.
Yeah, we waited this a long time, and me, like goalkeeper, normal for us is the most important to finish the game without receiving the goal. And I think we deserve this because we work hard every week, and a lot of unlucky in first games in the league. But now I think we will go in this way when we will have more and more clean sheets.
One of the things I said, and I'm glad you brought it up there, is that you guys had been kind of unlucky, and then we would try to explain to fans that this is the kind of thing that, you know, evens out over the course of a season, that the luck does turn. But what was it like for you as a goalkeeper, you know, seeing those score lines and feeling like, hey, you know, we were a little snake bit a bit, you know, a carom here, a penalty here. Some of them might have been dubious, but it seemed like things have gone the other way in the positive.
You know how it is. Before the first game, every time when I spoke with somebody from the club, outside of the club, with my family, I spoke all the time with them. Just we need a little bit of lucky that come on our side, and we can be like a surprise from first round. And then in first the game, it comes everything against us. And I was really disappointed after the game. And from this moment, I said, hey, even I will not pick now anymore about lucky. Just give us normal game. Just don't give us lucky and don't give to them lucky. But then again, after second game, we play really good on 0-0. Ben shoot in the post. And after 1 minute, this guy from LA Galaxy, he scored from the post to the goal.
Oh.
And it was not easy time. And even in the end of this everything, third game against Atlanta, again in 97 deflection from our guy and we received the goal for to lose the game. Yeah, it was tough time for us, but I can say to you, we was positive all the time. We know that this time must be like pass for us, and it will come normal time, and then we will enjoy it more.
Definitely. We've been enjoying watching you play. One thing I love to hear was in an interview with Will, you talked about fancying yourself as a forward, enjoying the ball at your feet. How important is it for you to be comfortable with your distribution, with receiving the passes in this system?
It's very important because this coach Miguel, he liked to use a lot goalkeepers, like in his exercise, in how he's see the football, like style of the football, and all of us who they bring in this club, they play the same well with the feet, and all of us enjoy in these things.
What is different about the way that you guys train? Because I feel like a lot of times, a goalkeeper will spend, all his time basically by himself, and you'll only join for like the 11-on-11 stuff. The goalkeepers are a lot more involved just because of that, and because of that desire to build out of the back and to have that style with the footwork. How much more work are you doing with the whole team and the outfield players than you might have, say, in previous stops in your career?
I think this stuff come a lot more now than maybe before 5, 6, 7, 8 years in the football, because a lot of coaches now use more goalkeepers in the games and in the training sessions. Now we are normal goalkeepers are separate from the team, because when the training sessions start, we go on one side, they go on other side to warm up, separate from us. We work like maybe 30-35 minutes alone, and then we start to enjoy easy, like 2 goalkeepers go on some games, 2 goalkeepers stay with Andy, and but every day we are with them. Maybe in the past, before 10 years, you had from 5 training sessions in the week, 2 training you make alone, just with goalkeeper coach, and you go home. You are not with the team. But now, in this time, every day we have something with them, or we play with some rondos, play some circle games, like with feet, or we have shooting normal, or this 11 against 11. We are all the time with them.
Miguel loves that rondo drill. He gets so hyped up during the rondo drill.
Yeah, even when I spoke with our coaches, for me it's more difficult to play this kind of games from the training than on the game, because on the game I have some time. I have time. I feel that I have time, but on a training session they put everything like shorter, and a lot of players on small part of the field, and then you must be really fast and quick mind.
So something I heard a lot growing up as a goalkeeper is you have to be crazy to be a goalkeeper, right? It's a different mental headspace. Do you think that's true? Do you think we're a different breed of person when you become a goalkeeper?
Yeah, I think that the goalkeepers are the most responsible person on the field, and in a lot of clubs you will see that who came first on the training sessions are goalkeepers. From 4 or 5 goalkeepers, 3 will be there immediately, like first. This is in our mind, like we are last in our teams, and they must have confidence in us. If you want really good team, you need to have good goalkeeper behind you, because when the team don't have confidence in the goalkeeper, then everybody are shaking. And you must be crazy, because sometimes when they go 1 against 1, you must open your body. Don't think that somebody will shoot you in the head, or that somebody will kick you in some crosses. Then when you go to the ball, everybody goes against you, and they want to score goal. You must be crazy.
Yep, we are crazy, Will. That's what you're used to. Will's used to spending time with me.
Yeah.
What's the most difficult save you've made this season?
Really, this against Martinez, I think was for me a really high quality save in second half, when he received back pass and the shoot from first touch up on my I say with my left hand. Yeah, this was like even I cannot say the most difficult, because in this second I don't think about this. This is just reaction.
Reactions.
This is just you know this. This is just reaction. But yeah, this is my favorite save this season.
Those are the saves that you practice so much for, but then in the moment, it's almost like second nature to you. I think that's how, when we watch you, everything looks like easy. It's faultless for you because you've practiced so hard in the week.
Yeah, I had amazing goalkeeper coach, Andy. We train a lot with these reactions, with possessioning. When you make good possessioning on the against your teammate who will shoot, you have really good chance to save this ball. And even with this reaction against Martinez, the most important is in my fast quick and my open. I don't know how can I say in English, but that my hands are open, that are not close to my body. Because if it's close to my body, I need a long time to push hand up, and this is like too late to make a reaction like this. And yeah, but this kind of reaction you can make just if you train this, because then come in your mind like naturally, and this is the most important.
In terms of just your position on this team, I know that people have really looked to you as a leader. How much of that do you take on just naturally? And number two, just how much of that has just developed of the way that you've played? I mean, have you ever remembered a run of play like this in your career?
In my previous club, yeah, it was in our league big favorite. We had big quality in terms of other clubs and in terms of money. And then it's much easier for me because maybe I will have in all game maybe 1-2 ball, and maybe from this 1-2 ball even it will not be hard ball. It will be some crosses and some shoot from 18 yards, and you catch this, and then after the game you said, oh, I play a good game, because they need again confidence that these 2 balls you save it. But it's sometimes it's more difficult because you are not in the game, and then comes some easy game, but you have a lot of job, and then you are not inside. Yeah, sometimes can be this like very difficult. Now every game here in MLS is like derby game, and you know that we will have some chances, they will have some chances, and who will be better, who will be in better form, he will take the points. And for me, until now, because I'm in the form, I enjoy really to be here on the goal, because I have a lot of jobs, and I think that I play really well.
Yes, you play really well, and people are noticing it. Your jersey, everybody is going on about wanting a Christian Kalina kit. They want to get your name on the back. They want to represent in your colors. How much does that mean as a goalkeeper for fans to have gravitated so closely to you? A lot of times as goalkeepers, you're the unsung heroes. You're a hero and people want your jersey. What does that mean to you?
Yeah, that means that I really show my quality to them, and they recognize me like somebody who is important in this team. And yeah, it's really nice to hear this and to receive all these messages from them. And really, I cannot answer on all these messages, because then I will come in some text with somebody. I don't have power for this, but on some messages I answer when I see that is nice text, and yeah, I answer it. But I think now they will put my jersey in fan shop, because this last one, pink, is from last season, and they didn't bought like a lot of these jerseys that they can put, and even they didn't expect this, that somebody will want my jersey. But now I think they will put in fan shop and everything will be easier for our fans, and they have my surname on this jersey.
Well, they know
Jess
I'm
is-
going to be first in line. I'm going to say, I beat you to it, Will. I'm going to be
Yeah.
first in
Yeah.
line to get it.
Jess
Even
is
I
going to camp
saw
out in front of Bank of America Stadium for you. You realize that?
even I saw some fans. They make it already. They take blue jersey, our like home color jersey, and they put behind my surname.
Your name?
And
Oh,
yeah,
ultimate
and they send to
compliment.
me, and yeah, it's really nice to see this.
I only know two things about your home country: great beaches, great wine. Which are better?
For me, great beaches because I don't drink wine, and then I cannot say nothing about this. But yeah, the summer there is really beautiful, and the sea, it's clear sea, and a lot of islands, a lot of nice cities with history, and without history, but it's very nice. You have a north and the south side of the beach, and yeah, it's beautiful.
I'm thinking about an off-season Crown Corner trip to Croatia with Christian as our tour guide. Appreciate it as always, bud. You're playing fantastic. You're on a heater right now. Keep it going. Get us 3 points in Philly. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you to both of you.
As Christian Kalina, who really is just, I swear, just so fun to talk to. I can't get over how awesome and how genuine he is. And have you ever seen somebody have something like that where a goalkeeper has his name be put on the primary kit like that, not a goalkeeper kit? I've not seen that before.
No, it's rare. That's why, I said ultimate compliment. My face is still hurting from smiling, though. What an incredible interview. What a honest, humble guy. And I love that because he knows the nature of the beast as the goalkeeper. 1 minute you're a hero, the next minute you're a villain. And I just feel like the fans have gravitated towards him, not because, well, yes, partly because he's an incredible goalkeeper, but also because he's just such a nice guy that spends time, like watching him after the games, go to the fans, taking time to sign stuff. He loves being at this club, and I think all the players do. It's such a wonderful feeling to be part of a club where everyone is happy.
Well, it's weird. Like, one of the things that I feel like this club was wrongly criticized for, among many, which again we've talked about that a lot, but they were criticized for the different internationality that was brought in, like all these international clubs. But I feel like that's what makes the flavor of this club, is that you have people from Croatia, you have players from Venezuela, you have players from Ecuador, we've got a couple now from Mexico, and there's something for everybody, I feel like, too, and not just the nationality part of it, but the mentality. There are people, I feel like if you ask people their favorite player, they're going to be a lot of people who say Kalina, a lot of people who say Carroll. People say Alan Franco, who played admirably last night for Ecuador against Argentina in a hostile environment down there in Ecuador, where that team earns a draw in a World Cup qualifier. And McCoon played last night for Venezuela against Colombia, and just there's all these different types of players that you could come in and people have a different favorite, which I think is something that's rare in a club.
And it represents the city of Charlotte, right? We're a mixing pot. It's nice that people can see someone that looks like themselves on the soccer pitch, someone that plays for their home country or is from their home country. And for me, having the experience of coming as an international to play in America, it's always nice when you've got other internationals going through the same experience, because you have someone that gets it. You're away from home. You're learning another culture, and that mix along with the Americans that can kind of put their arm around you and show you the way. I think it's a fantastic recipe for success. And so far, Charlotte FC is demonstrating that.
Now, of course, there's one that has also become a fan favorite among the Americans domestically, and that is, of course, Ben Bender. We got more of the comments about, when's Ben going to be part of the U.S. men's national team? Men's national team plays its final game tonight against Costa Rica. But just look at some of these different stats. 1 goal, 3 assists. He had the big assist on the goal for Swiderski at the beginning with another very, very well-timed run. I continue to be impressed by Bender. The cool first touch, the ability to run, the flexibility between positions, the ambidextrous foot nature. You just keep watching him, and he keeps on being not too big for the moment, which is very impressive for the 21-year-old.
And also the fact that he's just been able to adjust so flawlessly to MLS. A lot of these players from NCAA struggle to get up to the speed of play, struggle to get up to the physicality. I'm so impressed with his physicality as well. He's not a big dude, but he goes shoulder to shoulder with a lot of these grown men and wins those duels. So a full package player. But again, as I said about Karasvidesky, we just need consistency, and that's the real mark of how well a player can really adapt to the league.
Speaking of consistency, Philadelphia Union have been the bastion of just that. 4 matches. They were idle last week during the international break. They drew in their opening match, have won their last 3. They are top of the table, and that is who we draw this upcoming week in suburban Philadelphia. For part of a string of matches for Charlotte FC. That is the first road match in a string of 4 out of 5 in a row on the road. The only home match is next week against Atlanta a week from Sunday. So this is a tough stretch for the club, but we'll see how they are able to stand up to that. We'll get a little bit of an insight on what the Philadelphia Union are like with Jonathan Tannewald now from the Philadelphia Inquirer as we do a little opposition research. Here on Crown Corner, time for a little opposition research as we learn a little bit about the group that we will see this weekend in the city of brotherly love, the Philadelphia Union. Jonathan Tannewald writes for the Philadelphia Inquirer, and he joins us here on Crown Corner to preview this match this weekend. And Jonathan, top of the table, Philadelphia, 4 points in all 4 games, at least to start this season. I don't feel like there's really much to complain about as you sit here through 4 games under this group.
There is not. This team's playing very well so far this year, and they've had some not just good wins, especially at New York City FC. That was really a statement win, but they've played some good and interesting soccer too. They don't possess the ball a lot. They only had 27% of the possession in New York, but they know what to do when they have it. They are a counter-pressing team in the line of RB Leipzig and Liverpool and so on. And the sporting director from the Union, Ernst Tanner, knows a lot of people in those organizations and Red Bull Salzburg and beyond. It's the same playbook, and you're going to see it in full on Saturday night. I will correct you, though. You said there's nothing to complain about. That you said A, there's nothing to complain about, and B, in the city of brotherly love. Neither of those two things, in fact, is accurate. The stadium is half an hour south of downtown in
That's
Chester, PA, which is a subject of constant consternation for those of us who live in the city and don't have cars. But other than that, this team's very good. And I think, Charlotte FC fans who maybe have not watched this team yet are going to be very interested by what they see.
And you talk about being interested in what they're going to see. Can you tell us a little bit about key components? What players do Charlotte FC fans need to be wary of in this matchup?
Well, I think you've got to start with the central midfield. The quartet, the diamond-shaped quartet, the central midfield is the engine room of so much of what the Union do in terms of both pressing defensively and turning you over and sending the ball down the other way. Jose Andres Martinez at the bottom of the diamond, the 6th defensive midfield spot. Venezuelan national team mainstay, really dynamic. Plays on the edge kind of guy sometimes, to be honest with you. He's liable to get drawn into a yellow card or 2 fairly easily, and everybody knows it. In front of him, the 2 sort of central spots, Alejandro Bedoya, the team's captain, the U.S. national team veteran, guy plenty of folks have heard of. He plays on the right side of that diamond. The left side is generally Leon Flack, who's a very interesting, promising young American player who can play on the left side of the diamond as the 6 or at left back. If he's not playing, Jack McGlynn is a guy who might really interesting U.S. youth national team prospect. Hasn't quite made the headlines yet on a national team level. He did in MLS last year in the playoffs for sure. Academy kid, really interesting, smart on the ball, can set the tempo. I don't know how much he's going to play or not, because Flack is the starter over him, but a guy to know about for this weekend and the future. And then Daniel Gosdick at the top of the diamond, Hungarian international. Not quite a classic 10, but certainly a feeder and great passer. Absolutely terrific passing vision. And when you'll have two strikers in front of him, and he sort of plays as the third man. And when you're trying to, as a defense, occupy the space that all three of those guys are running around and into, it gets a little difficult. I haven't gotten the strikers yet because I'm not sure who the front two are going to be. The top two should be Mikel Ura, who's the big new signing for multi-million dollars, largest transfer fee in Union history. Danish striker, top scorer of the Danish league the last 2 years, but has been dealing with a little bit of an injury caused by, they think, running them out a little too fast when he got here after he didn't play for a month and a half. And Julian Carranza, the former Inter Miami striker, who's a pretty good player. You know, not necessarily elite, but makes some really smart runs, can finish, pairs very well with a front two, has really developed quickly some chemistry with Gosdick that we've seen so far this season. Those three guys can play some heavy metal ball, and they can also play some entertaining ball. And you're not going to see too many teams quite like it in this league. It'll be, ironically enough, three teams within proximity of each other geographically: the New York Red Bulls, DC United, and the Union. And you guys have seen DC United a little bit already, obviously, but not at the full strength team we know they're going to be later this year when all their acquisitions come in. But this team will press you a lot. And I will be very interested to see how Charlotte deals with that.
Yeah, it's interesting, Jonathan, just because I think the way that a lot of these teams in MLS are structured, they'll have a world-class number 9, like, Atlanta has with Joseph Martinez or Tati Castellanos at New York City, whereas, Philly has so many threats in different areas. You can't just focus on one dude. It's almost, you have to collectively defend, and maybe we will see a little bit of a bunker strategy by Charlotte employed if they go 5 at the back or do something similar like they did against DC, just because it's not just one guy you have to mark them all.
Yeah, and it's funny. I'm going to make a basketball analogy for 2 reasons. One, I'm on a podcast in North Carolina, and I grew up in ACC country, and I know what's happening Saturday night right around this time this game is going to end.
Sure.
So I get that, And the other is I've actually been covering basketball the last couple of weeks and will be at the Women's Final Four this weekend. I won't be at the game. So I have not watched as much of Charlotte FC in person, on TV as I'd like to. So I don't know who's going to be marking whom. But if I'm Miguel Angel Ramirez, I am spending this week preaching to my guys, you got to move the ball fast. And if you're Karol Swiderski, as good a player as we've seen from him so far that he is, how he plays against a high line, the back line of the Union, is going to be very interesting to watch, because if he times his run right, if you time your runs right against this team, you can get in behind them. But if you don't, you might be offside a lot. So that's something to watch.
How do you feel expectations is around the fan base so far, getting off to a really great start? Are expectations soaring?
They're up there. But the fascinating thing is, in contrast to a team that can put 70,000 in a stadium for its first game, or 30,000 for its second and third and fourth games, the Union don't have a huge fan base. You'll see a big crowd on Saturday night at a stadium that only seats 18,000 people. The Union don't resonate a ton in this town in the way that Atlanta and Seattle and Charlotte so far have done. There's 4 other pro sports teams in this town. There's 6, 7 college teams, et cetera. It's tough to break through. The Union broke through a little bit last year with their Champions League run and their playoff run. They've tried to recapture that. This spring they've got a little of it, but obviously right now everybody's paying attention to the U.S. men's national team, which takes a little bit of the attention away. You've got Villanova playing in the early game Saturday night before Duke, Carolina. So there should be a good crowd there Saturday night, but alas, they are not certainly going to treat it as one of their bigger games of the season, for better or worse.
Well, Jonathan, we're certainly looking forward to it. We understand, like you said, there will be attentions divided in both cities just because obviously the big Duke and Carolina presence here with that and obviously what's going on with Villanova in the beginning of the evening. But we thank you so much for the insight. We appreciate it, and we'll look forward to having you on for the return engagement.
It's my pleasure. And I want to watch this team a good bit more this year because I want to watch, in particular, Ben Bender, and Jalen Lindsay, who are two young guys who I'm really interested to see get rhythm, get a constant run of games. It's not interrupted by a FIFA window and such. Really, really have some momentum and playing well. And also a guy who I don't know if he's going to play Saturday night, but Derek Jones of Charlotte is a kid who grew up in the Unions Academy, grew up in Southwest Philly, and was a big-time prospect here. He's come back here and played a few times, but it's always interesting anytime he returns to town. So.
Well, we'll look forward to seeing how it works out, and we'll talk to you here soon.
Hey, thanks for having me on.
Union and Jess, this is a little interesting when it comes to this contest here with Philadelphia. I do feel like it's going to be probably our toughest test because it's on the road, because of the fact that you have really not one player that you'd go. Again, I have no real knowledge of this just because we haven't really seen the team do an 11-on-11 side yet in training, but I would not be shocked if they go back to that 5 at the back look, maybe 3 center backs, especially if they can get McCoon back in time, have the 5 with the 2 wing backs and maybe just play a little bit more of a bunker style just because I think it's going to be very difficult against Philadelphia, especially with how well they counter against the opposition.
I think when I talk about my keys to this game, the most important thing is very similar to Atlanta United, that we need to really frustrate them early on. The worst thing that we could do in this game is concede an early goal, because once you give Philadelphia Union a goal, not only are they going to get the world of confidence, you've also got to get a goal back against a very difficult side. So I think frustrating the opposition is going to be key. So maybe having that extra defensive solidarity will be a positive thing. But as our guest mentioned, they do play a high back line, which can actually, I think he's a little naive. He thinks that's going to be harder for us. I think we have speed over the top. We have vision in terms of passing and finding splitting passes that if they try and play too high of a line around us and we can play around it, it could create some very good one-on-one opportunities. So we've had people be a little naive about Charlotte FC before in this show, right? Particularly New England Revolution comes to mind. So exactly. I don't mind if people are underestimating us or worrying about how we're going to handle stuff, because I believe we have the capabilities in a manager that's willing to adjust and adapt to find the best side to face this team.
Well, I also think, too, Jess, is that people underestimate how adept we are at holding possession. They feel like because we build back, we're susceptible to turnovers and giveaways, which we are. But I feel like a lot of those problems have rectified themselves, and you have an anchor at the back in Kalina who, saved the hide of Charlotte FC a couple of times against Cincinnati and a couple other times against New England. He's been man of the match twice in the 5 games we've played this season. So I do feel like it is a formula that could help us, especially with the speed. Maybe we see some more from Titi Ortiz. Who knows? It could be an interesting situation that Miguel Angel Ramirez and how he plays it. It could be, as he says throughout the week, very fluid when it comes to the formation. We always love hearing, though, from our supporters. We've had all 5 of the Supporters Council groups on so far. There are other groups that are outside the Supporters Council we also want to recognize, and one of those is a group that really started at the advent of this club, but really is starting to get some great momentum, and it's headed up by a real great friend of the show, JJ Braceno. Here's a look at the Mint Street Mafia in our Supporters Spotlight. On Crown Corner at this time every week, we always like to give an opportunity for our supporter groups to get a little love and attention. And the folks from Mint Street Mafia have the honor this week. JJ Braceno is our guest to represent Mint Street Mafia. You certainly have seen him across the Charlotte sports scene, born and raised here. And we're so happy to have him and the folks from Mint Street Mafia on with us. And JJ, it's been a fun start to the season so far. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me. It's been more than fun. It's been unreal and surreal all at the same time.
You've had a chance to go to the first couple of home games and see what this atmosphere was all about. what is it like being in that supporter section and seeing this team play as well as they have, especially in the last two in their home building?
If you haven't got to experience a match yet in the supporter section, you have to do it. It's unlike any atmosphere in any pro sport venue that I've ever been to. And what I've actually really enjoyed is, even though we're a young club, only 3 matches into the season, that environment, it feels like we've been playing for a decade. Like, there's already traditions that have started organically within the supporter section. And what I really like is you walk in there and there's all walks of life in that supporter section. There's a whole diverse group of people in there, all with one common goal: to root on this club to win. And the last 2 matches have been amazing with the wins.
It's been a pleasure for Will and I to witness you guys. We get a perfect viewpoint from our booth to see you all. You mentioned some traditions that are formed in that supporter section. Can you tell us a little bit about those that you're seeing right now?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I guess the first one is the national anthem. Obviously, that started after the first match when the microphone went out, and we just kind of kicked it into gear and started, singing. So it's been real nice to continue that tradition. Other ones, like, just kind of, naturally took off is when we have home team corner kicks. Everybody starts, banging on their chairs and things like that. So it's just like little things like that where we're coming together as a group to make that noise, learn the chants. I think everybody's starting to pick up on it. So even listening it to the game, watching it back the past couple of times, you can hear us really good on the TV broadcast. So it's fun to be a part of that.
And you guys are a group that has really kind of just started up here in the last couple of months. I know that we met a couple months ago and really kind of went into the nitty-gritty of what you guys are trying to do. How did your group get started, number one? And number two, what makes you guys unique?
Yeah, so we got started actually in the spring or summer of 2020. Me and a couple guys that are, from here, played ball at Butler High School. A couple of the guys went to Independence there. Started a group chat once the team was announced that it was likely that we were going to get the expansion club. And it kind of just grew into like, all right, well, what are we going to do? And one of my buddies, Matt Raw, was like, hey, let's just start a supporters group. So kind of just grew out of nothing. And since then we've been able to start, several chapters. So got to give a shout out to my people, Jonathan in Hickory, Lucas in Durham, Mike in East Charlotte, who am I missing? Colin in Gastonia. And then we actually have an African supporter unions chapter headed by my guy Benedict. So I think what you'll find in Mint Street Mafia is a diverse group of people, from young, old, from Charlotte, transplant. And what I've really loved is it's given me an opportunity to meet a bunch of people that I probably wouldn't have met if it weren't for the soccer club and getting together to watch these matches.
And you talk about watching those matches. Obviously, that's a given for supporters groups. But outside of game days, what else do you all do in terms of the community and getting together as supporters?
Yeah, that's a big thing. And I think what the council and also just all the groups together, that's a big goal, right? It's not just to get together and drink beer and watch soccer. We want to give back to this community. So you'll find that every single club group has their own kind of initiative that they want to get behind. So we've been working with the Second Harvest Food Bank right outside of Uptown, volunteering there. So that's something that we'll continue to do in the future. And then also Greg Condon, our social coordinator chair, is really involved with the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation. He runs an annual golf tournament. So that's something we're going to be piggybacking off of and planning for this summer as well.
How's your golf game, Jess? Let's be real.
I passed 4 top golfs on my drive down. I think I can get some practice at each of them on the way.
Well, I also wanted to at least commend you guys as a whole, because I think the one thing that I've seen, and I've talked about this with David Gussler at Mint City and Southbound and a couple of the other guys as well, is that this is a real unified section. It's not,
Absolutely.
7 or 8 different sections and you guys aren't really helping out with each other, or there's not a lot of collegiality. That's couldn't be further from the truth. You guys get together on the TIFOs, the
Yeah.
chant committee is big and stuff. And how much have your members taken to those types of things throughout this young season?
Yeah, I think that's what is going to set our club's environment, our supporter group's environment apart from other MLS clubs, is that even though we are in this kind of infancy stage, it seems like we've all been working together for a really long time. So we have some people that are been going to help out paint TIFOs, things like that. Definitely need to get some more involvement done there with our members, joining the Slack channels and things like that. So, but I think the groups have been really nice to, like you said, Mint Street Mafia is fairly new. They've had open arms for us. Like there's not been an event that they've hosted. There's not been a watch party like we hosted a joint watch party with the Ultras. There's not been an event that has gone on that we've said, hey, can we been a part of? And them said no. They're absolutely Mint Street. Come on, you're one of us. And that's something that's really made me happy.
And speaking about watch parties, where can we catch you for away games? Obviously, away from home on Saturday. If people want to come hang out with you, where would they be able to find you?
Yep, our Uptown chapter is going to meet at Big Ben Pub in Elizabeth.
Hey.
Yeah, absolutely. And then East Charlotte's over at Tommy's Pub off Eastway. Hickory meets at Blowing Rock, I believe, Draft House. And then our Gastonia chapter is at Old Dallas Brewery. So we've got a couple of different spots around the Metro Atlanta area.
So, the last couple of weeks, Jess has gone over to Big Ben for the sausage rolls before the game. And
It's a bit superstitious now, honestly.
Hey,
it's getting
if
to
it's
the
working,
stage.
don't stop.
I know. I'm gonna have to find a way. I'm just gonna get them imported into the stadium whenever we're there.
Need to have them in the booth for you guys.
JJ, man, we appreciate it. I know that you guys have worked very, very hard on this, and really, I'm very happy to see that you guys are continuing to grow and get the numbers up. And we love seeing you guys out at games. We'll catch up at the next home tailgate, and obviously, we hope that you guys are able to do the most that you can to build this group. Where can folks find you to learn more information about Mint Street Mafia?
Our website is mintstreetmafia.com. Very easy. And then you can find us. You see our Twitter handle there. It's the same on Instagram at Mint Street, the initials ST Mafia. So at Mint Street Mafia. You can find us anywhere.
So most familiar, man. Let's mob.
Absolutely. Let's do it. Appreciate it, guys.
That is JJ Braceno. Again, our next home contest is a week from Sunday. Tickets still available at Bank of America Stadium's box office, as well as on Ticketmaster or charlottefootballclub.com. We are on the air Saturday for the road match against Philadelphia Union. That is a 7:30 kick time for a 7 o'clock start. So we'll be looking forward to that. We'll have all the coverage from that here from Chester, PA, if you will. See, that's the thing. It is not in Philadelphia proper. So that's why Jonathan earlier in the show was being like, yeah, the stadium's not downtown. It's a bit of a hike. So maybe that deters some people for the Villanova match earlier that evening. Maybe we get a little bit of a lighter crowd in Philadelphia on Saturday.
Hey, we'll hope so. We'll hope so. But the most important thing is that, Charlotte FC fans get behind them, whether they're traveling, whether they're at a watch party, enjoy the game. And, always tune into WFNZ for a lovely call, right, Will?
Absolutely. And now it's time to bring on our good friend Matt Hogan for some burning questions. It is time to give him a little spotlight here. Matt, what do you have for us?
Sorry, that's my cat. The first question I have for you guys is from Twitter, and at QCS Pod wants to know thoughts on giving Reyna a chance up front with Carroll.
For me, if it's not broken, don't fix it. And right now, the relationship between Rios and Karas Federski is really growing. I enjoyed Reyna coming off of the bench with some fresh legs to add some pace against tired defenders. It's a tough one, right? Reyna was starting, picked up an injury, and when that happens, it can be really difficult to find your way back in when someone comes in and replaces you and plays well.
The thing that I just want to see from Reyna, more clinical finishing. I know that drew the ire of a lot of supporters in the first couple of weeks of matches. He makes great runs. I think I don't think anybody denies that part of his game, is that he's very much able to find himself in open spaces. He lacks the clinical finish. I do feel like Jess does when that. I do feel like he's probably better coming off the bench, at least right now for Charlotte, but. If proven otherwise later on, we could see maybe whether or not he ends up playing himself back into form.
Last question for you guys before we wrap up. We're running low on time, but how has the ceiling for this team, in your guys' opinion, changed after the last 2 wins?
Miguel Ramirez is going to kill you for asking that question. The ceiling has not changed. We think about each game as it comes. Look, I feel really delighted that we've got those 2 wins. Now it's all about momentum. It's about consistency. I've used that word. I started with patience, and now I'm going to talk about consistency. It's really important that we keep playing the way we want to play. And it's nice, but it doesn't mean anything, 2 wins, unless we continue to play the way that we want to play and pick up points.
And this stretch, these next 5 matches are all tough matches in their own right. Philadelphia, then you have the home against Atlanta, revenge game for the side. You get a revenge game in New England with a more full strength Evolution side. You got to go to Colorado, who has played very well to begin, and also a very tough place to play at Elevation. And then you got to go to Orlando, which might be not a tough side, but they have a pretty menacing atmosphere, and we've seen them be a bit of a giant killer in the past. I know that they're not exactly as strong as they have been in past seasons, but each of these next 5 matches, I think, will really tell the tale of how high this can go and how much this team can improve. But I do feel like it all gets going this weekend, a real tough stretch here with this second set of 5 contests after we've played 5 ourselves. That's
Most
do it for
importantly,
us.
we're enjoying it. We're enjoying it. That's the most important thing. We're going to ride this wave of wins, and hopefully it continues. And in the wise words of Miguel Ramirez, 1 game at a time.
Consistency, 1 game at a time. Keep it all going. Keep getting the sausage rolls, Jess, too, because that apparently is a good luck charm. We hope you enjoyed our program. Again, catch us Saturday, 7 o'clock on WFNZ, on the WFNZ app as well. And we'll be following the action for you from Philadelphia. For Jess, for Matt, I'm Will. We'll talk to you next week on Crown Corner, and we'll talk to you on Saturday night from Philadelphia.